If you are exhausted and moody and struggling with your weight, but your PCP tells you that your thyroid is fine, that is likely because they are only checking your TSH, and that is just simply not enough to evaluate your thyroid health. Let me show you why. So here is a beautifully drawn image of structures from the HPT or hypothalamic pituitary thyroid axis. You've got the brain up there at the top with the pituitary gland hanging down, and the thyroid is down there in the neck. So the brain, and more specifically the hypothalamus, releases thyrotropin releasing hormone, or TRH, to start this whole cascade of the thyroid. That stimulates the pituitary to then release TSH, which is the one thing that your primary care doctor checked and told you everything was fine. So TSH tells the thyroid to get to work and release T4. So T4 goes out into the body, specifically to the liver, kidneys, muscles, and gets converted to T3. And T3 is our gold. So this is the active thyroid hormone that works on cells throughout the entire body. T3 is our metabolism. T3 regulates heart rate, contractility of the heart, skeletal muscle, bone health, a whole lot of things. And it goes literally everywhere in the body, including the brain. So it crosses the blood-brain barrier, where the hypothalamus measures how much of it is present and then decides how much TRH to release to keep this whole system in balance. Okay, so that's like the quick rundown of how all of this works, but let me give you an analogy of why it's absolutely ridiculous to only be checking TSH to evaluate this entire system. And the analogy we're going to use, you may be familiar with. This is going to be like a mom trying to get their kid to put their shoes on to get out the door in the morning. Okay, so here's our sweet mama, aka the pituitary gland, who is in charge of making sure there are children with shoes on to get out of the house. And here is her darling son who is receiving the message, or the TSH, to put his shoes on. So the mom starts out just asking calmly, maybe at like a 1 or 2, but the longer she goes without seeing a kid with shoes on, the louder she has to get. So just like her volume goes up, the TSH rises to get the thyroid, or kid in this example, to pay attention, to listen, and do what is being asked. So here we start to see some response to the elevated volume, but the kid has to get his socks on first, just like the thyroid will release T4. So this is not our active form of getting out of the house, but it's a step in the right direction. And then finally, we will have the results that we're looking for in order to cause the action. So in here, the kid is putting on his shoes to get out the door, just like T3 is available to take action across the body. So the mom, or pituitary, then recognizes the requested action has taken place and goes back to being nice and calm, no longer having to scream at the child, aka the thyroid. So from this example, when a provider only checks TSH, that's like us only seeing how loud mom is yelling in order to assess if the kid has their shoes on yet, which should correlate. Like, you can kind of see how it would relate, but why aren't we just checking if the kids got their shoes on so we can get out the door? We should probably also be seeing, does the kid have their socks on first? And so then they are able to convert that into T3, or having their shoes on. What if the kid can't hear? What if the kid's deaf? What if they can't even hear the mom yelling at him? What if there's not even a kid in the house to be receiving the message? So this is just a fun little example of why I think it is so important to be checking all of the thyroid levels, especially T3, which is the active hormone, in order to fully assess the thyroid and not just be seeing how loud the pituitary is screaming at the thyroid in order to assess total thyroid function. So like with all things, if you don't feel like you're getting what you need from your PCP, from your provider, please feel comfortable to speak up, to advocate for yourself. If you know that there's something changed in your body, it is always okay to request more tests, to have a deeper conversation with your provider. And if you don't feel like you're getting what you need, it is okay to find a new provider. It is okay to find someone that is willing to do those things for you, that is going to listen and look deeper and find out what might really be going on by doing all of the appropriate testing, and not just what insurance companies tell us we can or cannot do. And that is often why there is a benefit to see a provider outside of the insurance model, so you can have a complete, thorough workup and make sure that you are optimizing everything that your body needs to be feeling your very best.